Hello everyone. So what you're seeing on the screen is actually what it is. So yeah, let's move on. Yeah, I was actually chuckling throughout the whole period I was actually making this. Okay, so okay, I'm about to introduce you to a new system that I worked out of how to make the arm movement. So as you can see, if I press Q and A, it looks like there's nothing different. Well, the fingers are actually different because I actually worked on this. I actually used 3D, and I'm going to show you a tutorial about how I made that happen. But this tutorial is actually made for the client who ordered this. So I'm just trying to introduce him to the new hand system that I made. And also, since I would actually, from any character I will making from onward from now, I will be using this system. So it's a good thing I upload it here. That's what I thought. So, okay. So if I press Q and A, aside from the fingers, you can see that the cycle trigger is the same. But in this case, if I press Q and A, it flips automatically, boom, to this point. So like there's no in between in the reverse. So there's no like if you use cycles, normally what you see is okay. What you have there is okay. Cycles to go forward, and then you could actually make it to cycle downwards, backwards. So the hands are supposed to cycle backwards, but in this case, it's not the same. So it just flips straight up to the default arm, and that is intentional because that cycles. I would actually explain this more in depth in future tutorial. But for now, what you just need to know is that cycle trigger system does not give you the opportunity to make an in between. So, like let's say your arm is right here, and then you want this arm to move from here to let it cycle to maybe an arm that is this way, maybe like Y or something like that. One of those arm movements separate from the default. If you're using a cycle, what you end up getting is the hands will have to go down to have to reverse, then it will actually do that. So even if you press that trigger for it to do a separate, the different arm trigger, it will not just move in between. What will just happen, it will just move down straight to the default, and then it will now cycle to that that trigger that you clicked. But this system will actually help you to avoid that, in as much as it's a bit like you're adding a little bit of work, because now you have to actually make the trigger for him to bring his hands down. So let's say after doing this, I want his arm to go down to default and I want it to cycle down. So what I will press is I've actually configured keys for that. And if you come to the controls for any other characters that I'll be making from henceforth, so you come here and you see all those triggers. And in this case, well, I'm going to introduce this. Well, I'm going to give it a more in-depth, comprehensive, maybe review. But for now, all you just need to know is when you want to do that, you press Z and X, and you get it to cycle down. Boom! As you can see, it cycles and then cycles to the default. Boom, like that. So this, if you press Z and X just like that, you see that it will cycle. It's kind of like a drop cycle trigger. If you press W and S, you get his hand to this point. And if you press Z and X, it will drop down, and then you have to press it again to get rid of it. So it goes down to default. So how you be able to record this? This is for the guy that I made this character for. So what you need to do is, let's say you select your character as usual. You press your Q and Z to get him to do this, and then maybe get him to bend this way, or whatever trigger you want, whatever position you want him to stay in. So you now press your Control 2. When you press Control 2, it's supposed to record that. Okay, my system is lagging a bit. That's because I'm actually recording. So it won't be slow. It won't be as slow as this. In fact, that is one of the advantages of making a puppet like this, because what you end up getting is a very, very optimized character. So because you're getting rid of unnecessary cycles. So let's just move this like this. You want him to hold that position to like this second, and then from here you want him to drop down. So what you now do is you press your Z and X. So you see like the hands are down here, but you press your Z and X, and then when you press Control 2, then you extend it by 6 frames, because this is actually a 6-frame drop. So by 6 frames, you could actually hold it longer, it's fine, but I think 6 frames is actually the best. Well, you could hold it longer, but don't make it too long because he will hold a position that you might not want. So now if I play this from beginning to end, you can see that his hands will go up and it will drop like boom. So you can see, so that is the little work. But this character has been optimized so much that you can actually make your own triggers. Like you can actually combine hand movements and make your own triggers without contacting me, without, like, you could just form whatever trigger you want. So how would you be able to do that? So the first thing is, every single arm, unlike the cycle trigger that one arm like this will have all the cycles in between, all the layers in between, every single arm is a trigger on its own. So you see, like if you press all this, like you keep pressing all this, you can see the arms are moving. Let me just make this a bit bigger so that at least you'll be able to see, in as much as I will not be able to click. So whenever if I press this now, as you can see, the character assumes this position. That's the arm will assume this position. And there's a finger here, and this finger comes with some triggers, additional triggers in them. So you could actually, at this position, those triggers, so you could come down here and let's say you select, this. This is fine. Okay, let's say you click this. Okay, that's not available. So let's do this. Not available. Okay, you can see. So it's from here. So when you press this, you get the default arm, and then you press this, you get him to change his arm. And this is not available in every arm hold, and I will explain this further in a future tutorial. But what you just need to know is, okay, maybe you want to create your own cycles. Let's say no, not that. Okay, let's go to arm A. So let's drop this to the first frame. Let's say from here you want to make him to point upward or something like that. So what you need to do is, the first arm that you're supposed to, just look at all the shapes. So it's supposed to be going up gradually to that point that is pointing upward. So the first thing you do is to maybe do this, maybe click this and then you leave it at that. You use your control 2, and then you add 2 frames because you want it to move in twos, not once. You could do once, but 2 is actually way better. So from this position, you want it to be at this position. So let's just do this. So now let's do control 2. Okay, boom, we're making progress. So you want him to get his hand. So we've done this. So you want it to go upwards a bit. So you could just go straight up and just click this, and then you've actually created 3 cycles. So now that I've created 3 circles, you can just select everything. But let's play it, or you hold this. You can hold this if you want, but let's play this. So from this, you see he will go upwards. The arms are going up and then up to the point that is pointing upwards. And you could just select everything, right click, and then you see all this creates a replay trigger. You create a replay trigger, and then boom, you have a replay trigger right here that you could actually just configure to a key, and then when you press a button, you have that to replay. So let's just make this a bit longer so you could get something like this. So let's just play this. When you play it, you see his hands will go up and it's pointing upwards. And how the beauty with this is you can combine it with other triggers that I've introduced you to. So let's say you want, so his arm is right here. Let's do control 2 and extend it a bit. Just let's make it to this point. So from this point, you know that the arm is already halfway towards that upwards, like him pointing upwards. So all you just need to do is just delete this, just get rid of these 2 because you don't need that. So let's play this now. So you can see that his hands will go up and it will go up, it will point upwards. So that's really cool. You can put an in between here. So from here to here, it's actually just too jumpy for my liking. So what I will end up doing is I'll just add 2 more frames of like a mini in between. So let's do something like this point. Boom, this is good. That is good. So let's do control 2, and then voila, we have something that is really cool. So when I play this, you see his hands will go to this point and it will move upwards and it will be in like a cycle kind of thing. And for you to drop it, you remember what you press, Z and X, and or you can come to your controls here, and then you come down here and you see so many other drop triggers that I've added. So when you come down to this point, you see all the other drop. You see drop mere, like in case you have your arms in, what position is it? I think it's not this. I don't have it configured to a key, but there's an arm, kind of arm that is kind of where is it? I think it's, well, just look for it. So when you have your hand at that position, you have to use the drop, that drop. So maybe you have it at that position, so you have to use that particular drop. So this drop, and then you get it to drop down. Okay, so if you have your arm at this point, you can always, you see this is the first one. You could use Z and X and you could drop it. You have your arm at this position, you could use Z and X and you could drop it. But if you have your arm like this, X and Z will not work, because actually it will work, but it will not look very, very good, because the arm will just jump to this position and then to drop downward, which is not really cool. So I've configured one to a key for this. So you could just press C and V. When you press C and V, you see, boom, it will go down to go back. So C and V will get it down. So let's do more so that you'll be able to see this. I think C and V will do just fine too. No, C and V will not do just fine. So you have to do B and N for this, so it will drop. Boom, that's quite good. Okay, the arm is not at default, that's why you're seeing this. So let's just go back. So let's do this, and then you do B and N. B and N will drop his arm, and it should drop down. So you press it and you press it again to get it down like this. So that's really cool. So this will actually, the advantage are really much. There's no way I'll be able to cover most of them, but one of the advantages is you do not have, you can easily edit the original file. So you could go to Adobe Illustrator and then you edit the original files, and all you just will be editing is just 36 arm movement, so arm positions. So there's this one, that's the default, and then there's another one like this, and all those these are the arm positions here, these ones that you can see. So these are the arm position, and then in them, some of them come with like 5 finger triggers, some of them 2, some of them 1. So you have to use these buttons down here to configure those, and then make sure you create it into a cycles, rather into a trigger, so you can just press a button and then you get it to move. And there are so many triggers, there are about 17 triggers. If you come down here, you see them, about 17 or so, or way more than that, actually, way more than that. So there are so many triggers here that you could use that are not configured to keys here, because I ran out of keys. So like this, you can see this one is not configured to any key, and this is the where X. I named them, give them very, very weird names, so you could rename them if you want. So this is where X, and if I do that again, so from here you use Z and X to drop. So when I use Z and X, oh no, I combined 2 arms, that is not right. So in this case, this is arm A, so Z will drop it. So boom, that's really cool. So this is the same, the where X, but this is the B version. So every single arm trigger that I created, I made a B version, that is for the odd, for the flip version. So if you combine both like this, you get something cool like this. So remember, you have to press Z and X to drop it, because this is the position, this position is halfway, like upwards in the frontal position, kind of. So when you use that, it will work, so it looks good when it's dropping. But now let's look for another one. So this is another one, but in this case, what you need to use to drop this should be C and V, because I think C and V, right? No, not C and V, sorry. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Rather, okay, good. That is B and N that will drop it. So B and N will drop it. So boom, that's good. So there's just so many. There is like a reverse version. All this drop, like you can see, most of them are reverse versions that will work well with your arm. So just experiment with your character, just touch around, just do whatever you want, and then try to use the drop. And this is like a game changer. It's actually, it will be good for you, for your character. So you could just move your character from this position. You don't have to drop down for it to make another move. So you could just move it directly to a different position, that is the arm to a different position, and you could create so many triggers that you want, and the character is optimized, so your frame rate will actually be good. so many advantages. I'll cover that in a future video, but for now, please, if you have any questions, let me know. I would leave because I think I'm having some issues reaching out to, like, people are reaching out to me on Fiverr and all those social network, and it's a bit difficult for me to keep up. But one way you can actually always get me to reply is to reach me on WhatsApp, and my number will be in this video. It's always in, I think I put it in, it should be in the description, so just check that out and you can contact me directly there, and I will make sure I reply to every messages. So, or you could just comment down here, it's fine. So thank you for watching. Please give us a like, give us a sub to help us to reach more people, and to also help us to reach you more contents like this in the future. Thank you, and bye for now.